Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome to the Game Week 20 or Double Game Week 20 deadline stream. Right, so I'm quite excited for this stream. I presume that there's going to be a lot of questions. There's so many things going on in FPL right now, so many injuries, so many double game week announcements. This is like crunch time, right, guys? This is like crunch time. Like the key decisions that we're going to make this week is just going to influence all the decisions later on. It'll snowball all our future decisions like chips, etc. Right, the transfers that we bring in. So everything is coming thick and fast. We're gonna try and cover everything in this stream. Right, thank you guys for coming early as well. Really appreciate that. AJ, I think VJ was first, right? VJ was first in the stream really early, right? Shout out to you, VJ. Thank you for coming early, watching all the videos, commenting. I do see you guys. I do interact with you guys in the comments, and I really do enjoy it, right? So do keep it up. I really enjoy just speaking with you. Right, so Hilmi as well, right? VJ, Ravi, AJ, Ryan. Right, thank you guys for coming early. Alright, so just before I get into all the questions, right, let me just quickly run through my team. Right, let me just quickly run through what I'm doing. Right, that'll kind of give you guys a little bit of an idea of what I think should or shouldn't be done. Right, and kind of give you guys an early answer first before you guys ask your questions. So Game week 20, double game week, right? As you guys can see on the screen, I don't have a lot of double game week players. I only have one Man City double game week player, and that's Haaland. He's currently captaining Haaland. Right, there's Kane, who I just brought in. I have Marcus Rashford, and I have Luke Shaw. That's pretty much it. And I think this kind of sets the tone as well, right? For a lot of questions that I've been receiving on the socials, on my Instagram, on Twitter, everybody's asking, is KDB essential? Now, if I could have gone for KDB without losing Salah, right? In essence, maybe I had Mason Mount previously. If I could afford a move from Mason Mount up to Kevin De Bruyne without making any compromises to Salah, right? Then I would do it. But because I couldn't, my only route to KDB was Salah to KDB, and I didn't want to do that, right? So what I've gone for is basically I've gone for Kane as the premium. Right, so as you guys can see, this is a threemium draft already. Right, this is Kane, Haaland, and Salah. This is a threemium draft. Right, and I'm not going to rule out the possibility of going for Kevin De Bruyne in Game Week 23 when they double again. I think if I'm not wrong, they have Arsenal in that double as well. Right, so as Aston Villa and Arsenal. Right, I could go Salah to Kevin De Bruyne. That's something that's in my mind as well. Right, but for now, the changes that I've made. Right, if you guys watch the team selection video, I've gone Cancelo, Mason Mount, and Darwin Núñez. Swap them out for Luke Shaw, Odegaard, and Harry Kane. Now, these three players, Luke Shaw, Odegaard, and Harry Kane, all of them, I've wanted to go for them from ages back. I think the moment Game Week 17 passed, right, when we were into Game Week 18 already, I felt like these were players that I would want long term. And come the time now, double Game Week 20, find myself in a situation where I'm having a lot of injuries, right? Darwin Núñez, injured, right? A lot of other players injured as well. News of double game week announcements and everything just coming all together kind of gives me a good excuse to actually go for all these players that I want, right? So the good thing as well is that they double this game week, right? Luke Shaw and Harry Kane. So all the more reason for me to do it. So I've gone for Luke Shaw, Odegaard, Harry Kane, right? Odegaard, of course, he has that double in game week 23 in mind, so that's something that's playing on my mind as well. So that's pretty much it, right? And the key decision, I think, which most of you guys are already asking in the chat, right? Triple captain Haaland or not. So I will cover that later on, right? But I'll get to some of the questions first before we move on to the press conference updates, right? I'll touch on that very soon, right? But let's answer some of the questions first. So, Mohammed Hilmi says, should I play Bueno or Mitrovic? Definitely Mitrovic. Thank you guys for being excited, by the way. Thank you. I was pretty excited for this stream as well, right? I was really looking forward to it because there's so many things to talk about, right? There's so many things to talk about. And I honestly don't know how long I'm gonna stream for. If you guys want, I could stream all the way to the deadline, but I think that would be pretty much too long. I may need to use the washroom midway or something, but let's see. Right. Ryan says, I have Kepa, Shaw, Cancelo, Castagna, Kevin De Bruyne, Rashford, Martinelli, Almiron, Kane, Haaland, got 2 free transfers. I think if you have 2 free transfers, the players that I would take out most probably would be Cancelo, right? And I think you could actually you could actually go for you have Kepa, right? One of the moves that I was considering as well this game week was Kepa to Ederson because he's the most nailed City defensive asset, right? So if you take Cancelo out for someone else, let's say you don't have Trippier, I see, right? So if you go Cancelo to Trippier, you can do Kepa up to Ederson. I think that's not too bad. Right, VJ from Southern India, right? Nice to see you guys, all the way from across the world. I received some questions today in the latest video asking where I'm from. I'm from Singapore, right? So for those of you guys who are tuned in from all around the world, right, please let me know where you guys are from, right? I really love talking to you guys. Took a -4 for Tony from Mitrovic. What do you think about this? I think Tony is fit, right? We'll go to the injury list in a bit, right? We'll go to the injury list in a little bit. Triple captain Haaland. I think I'm gonna put up a poll right now, so that we can just leave this poll here, right? Are you triple captaining Haaland, or basically triple captain Haaland? Question mark. Yes, no, unsure, right? I'm unsure, so I would put unsure. All right, so there we go. Please vote in the poll. I'm going to come back to this because at the end of the day, I still haven't decided whether I'm going to triple captain or not. I haven't decided. I need to have a think a little bit on stream, and I think I'm going to put up some graphics later. I did a preview stream yesterday. I think not a lot of people turned up, right? So I'll review some of the content that I put out in the preview stream today again, right? So I think it could be useful to help us decide whether we want to triple captain or not. We'll go through double game weeks, etc. Everything's going to be covered, right? So if you guys do enjoy the stream, please like as well. I think I've gone through the data on the streams and not a lot of people like the streams. I don't know, maybe the streams is not as good. I'm not sure. But if you guys are here, if you guys are listening, please give a like on the stream, right? It really means a lot, and also subscribe as well. Tony could have a big call, yeah, possibly. Right, Arthur joined as promised yesterday. Thank you so much. Right, I saw all of you guys on stream yesterday. I really appreciate you guys. Stones out, right? Do we go for Ake? Let's see. FPL Jelly's in the chat, right? Good afternoon. Thank you for coming down. Singapore, lovely place. All right. Thank you guys for coming down. Right, we are going to take a look now at the injury list. Right, I'm going to put it up on screen. So basically what I have here, I've been quite active on Instagram. I've basically done quite a couple of collabs with other Instagram accounts as well. So do give us a follow, FPL_consult, that's mine, right? And FPL tips __. Do give us a follow down there. We're working a lot of posts together, and obviously this one I've just put it out before the stream. So we're basically covering all the latest press conferences all in one graphic. So as you guys can see on the screen, right, past fit, right, Ivan Toney, that's the big one, right? A lot of people are thinking about Ivan Toney, so that's the big one. Kulusevski is also fit, right? So amazing. Bamford as well, he's come back from injury. I think that one is not too much of a worry for us. It's not too exciting. Podence, Milner, Mitchell, etc. Right? So doubtful, Darwin Núñez and Anthony Martial, both of them are doubtful. I think Núñez, if you guys can read the notes and the caption, Darwin Núñez is not likely to feature in Game Week 20, and that's because I think the word that Klopp used in his press conference was soon, right? He'll be back soon. So that kind of gives us the impression that he's not going to start, right? So I would say that Núñez, I feel, could be in the ruled out section, but the only reason why I haven't put him in ruled out is because it's not 100%, right? It's not 100%. Alright, so next up, Martial. So Martial trained this morning, but Ten Hag was a little bit cautious with him, a little bit uncertain about his minutes, etc. So Martial is also a doubt, right? Medicash as well, also another doubt, right? Further down the list, I think he doesn't really apply to most of us. So let's go on to the ruled out section. John Stones is not fit, right? John Stones is ruled out of at least the first game of the double game week game, right? I've seen some of you guys in the chat. FPL Jelly liked the chat, right? Like the stream. Thank you so much. I saw some of you guys are saying Stones is ruled out. Yeah, Stones is ruled out, right? So I don't think Stones being ruled out necessarily means that Cancelo will play. I think there's so many different ways that Pep can go about doing it, right? Basically, there's as we have seen, right, so many different combinations of defenders. Yeah, so basically, as of now, John Stones is ruled out, right? So that kind of plays into our minds as well. Dalot is also ruled out, right? Ruled out. So that's pretty much why initially I was considering Dalot, but I haven't gone with him anymore. I've gone for Luke Shaw now. Firmino, Van Dijk, Madison, etc. The rest are pretty much standard stuff, right? Standard stuff. So if you guys want to have a look at this graphic, go over to Instagram. It's FPL_consult and also FPL tips__, right? If you guys want to check out this graphic. So I think we've spent enough time on this one. And let's take a look. Right, I'll get to some of the questions before I share a little bit of the material that we have yesterday, right, where we can take a look further on later into the FPL landscape and take a look at where the game is going towards, what the double game weeks look like, and kind of decide whether the triple captainship this week is a good decision to make or whether we should delay it and possibly use it in future double game weeks, right? So just to get to some of the questions, Alex says, what do you think of Martinelli to Mahrez for a -4 instead of Salah to Bruyne for a -4? I don't think I would do either of these moves for a -4. That's my honest opinion. I keep Martinelli and I keep Salah, right? But if you want to go for Salah to De Bruyne for a -4, I think I would understand, but definitely not a -4 for Mahrez. I do get the appeal for Mahrez, but definitely I wouldn't take a -4 for him. Saka for Odegaard as a priority. I think I've seen a couple of managers go for that. Previously, I was watching the FPL Focal stream during lunchtime for the press conferences, and he basically did a move, right? Saka to Odegaard, I don't think it's you can view it as a sideways move, but at the end of the day, if it frees up funds for you to do other transfers, then I think you can't see it per se as just one particular sideways move, but rather what it allows your team to do on the whole, right? How your whole team looks after that, right? So I don't think it's it is a sideways move in itself, but I'm not against it. I'm not against it because you get more funds, right? And this week I see so many people taking hits, and yeah, it just allows you to do so much more. Just having a little bit of a cough. Stones ruled out. Yep, Stones is ruled out. Nunes, Cancelo to Kane and Lewis for a -4. I think Lewis is a little bit risky. I want to go to the Man City graphics in a bit, so I'll cover that later on. Maybe you can post it in the chat again. Worth selling Salah for KDB. I haven't done it this week, but that's because I couldn't go for I couldn't keep I wanted to keep Salah and upgrade maybe Mason Mount to Kevin De Bruyne. I do think Salah would be a little bit more central today, this game week, not today. Because Nunes, if he's injured, then we see Salah back. I think there's a possibility that we see Gakpo and Salah up front together. I think that'd be pretty exciting. That would be pretty exciting, and if it pays off, and I think Brighton is a team that we need to change our minds a little bit. They've kind of changed their play a little bit, right? They've become a little bit less solid at the back, right? Last time when Graham Potter was there, they conceded. I think they were one of the defenses that we were quite sure about, that they were quite good. But now, under De Zerbi, I think they're playing a little bit more open. They're conceding a lot more goals. They haven't kept the clean sheet in, I think, ages, if I'm not wrong. I just checked the records for Brighton. They haven't kept the clean sheet in really long. Right, so I actually fancy Salah and Gakpo up front. Play Robertson or Ben White? I'll play Robertson. All right, I'm gonna switch the screen. I'll continue to answer the questions, but I'm gonna switch the screen to the Man City players first, because I'm sure we're gonna get a lot of questions for the Man City players. So let me look for the graphic for the Man City players. All right. So what we have on screen here is basically one of the graphics that I used yesterday for the preview stream. Right. So what we are seeing essentially is okay, I've left stones in because when I made this graphic, stones wasn't ruled out yet. Right. But as you guys can see, I've listed all the defenders that I think we would go for. Right. Barring Kyle Walker, but I don't think most of us would consider him. So these are the defenders that I think, at the end of the day, when we have all this data in front of us, right, what I've basically done is starts, minutes, expected goal involvement, expected points, etc. over the next 6 game weeks. At the end of the day, I'm going to caveat and say that all this could be useless. It could be useless because we can't predict Pep Roulette. We just can't. We just can't. So I think we take this with a pinch of salt, but it's good to know that we have this data with us to try. This is what we have. So we try to use this to draw some conclusions. So, okay, we'll omit Stones because he's out now. So Ake, 3 out of 3 starts in the Premier League, 270 minutes, right? Ignore the goal involvement, and his expected points for the next 6 is 30.8. Now, this expected points is inclusive of the double game weeks. So the double-double that they will have soon. So that's pretty much for Ake. Akanji, 2 out of 3 starts, right? 225 minutes, 30.6 expected points. Right, as for Cancelo, I think it is looking pretty dull, right? It's looking pretty dull for him, and you see that Lewis is actually taking a big chunk out of his minutes. 2 out of 3 starts for Lewis kind of explains Cancelo's 1 out of 3 starts, right? And then look at the minutes as well. 67 for Cancelo, right? 200 for Lewis, right? So there's pretty much a correlation there that if Lewis plays, I don't think Cancelo plays. And that brings us to the next part, which is the minutes. So this graphic here is basically all the minutes that we've seen of Man City players since the World Cup. So this is for those of you guys who want to give it a go, right? And try your hand at Pep Roulette, right? For those of you who want to do that, this is on the screen. So we'll rule Stones out again. So Ake and Akanji both came on at halftime during the EFL Cup. So I think what you can kind of draw from that is possibly, it's nothing for certain, but possibly when they're 2-0 down and they really need a result, Pep sends on Ake and Akanji. So read into that what you will, but I think Ake and Akanji, I think they're quite good as assets. I think if I was going for a defender now, I could be going for Ake. Right? I could be going for Ake. As for Cancelo, I think if you have him, there's good reason to sell him. Right? I don't think I'll be inclined to keep. I already sold him. Right? So that's kind of my opinion on it. And for Lewis, 0 minutes. So once again, there's a chance that he starts. Right? So in general, when we look at the Man City defense, we have to just view it as if it's pretty much gonna be Ake and Lewis, or maybe Ake and Cancelo, or Walker and Cancelo. Those are the combinations I feel that we're going to see, right? So I think in these combinations, I feel like Ake is pretty secure, right? Once again, all speculation, all guesswork, but I think if I was going to go for a City defender, Ake is the one, right? So as for midfielders, right, there's Kevin De Bruyne, there's Mahrez, there's Foden, right? All of them, I think the minutes are here on screen, right? And for Foden, I don't think I would go for him, right? Not only are his minutes pretty saturated towards the games that we just saw, right? Chelsea and Southampton, pretty high minutes for him there. And on top of that, his numbers haven't been good, right? If you rewind a little bit back to the stream with all the statistics, his statistics have been really, really poor, right? So at this point, I think what we have to consider is that if I'm going to go for a City asset, either you go for one that is guaranteed minutes, so that's Kevin De Bruyne, or you go for one with a high ceiling, that's Riyad Mahrez. So either of these two, I think there's good reason to go for them, but a lot of us have been burned by Mahrez before, so you have been warned, right, that Mahrez has that tendency to go on streaks, and then he's just one bad game away from... This is what a lot of people say about Mahrez, right, where he's always one bad game away from being benched, right? So make of that what you will, but I think at this point, right, Kevin De Bruyne is someone that I would prefer first ahead of Mahrez. But if you can't go to you can't go to Kevin De Bruyne because of his price, and you're forced to go for Mahrez, I think I wouldn't be too I guess I wouldn't be too put off by it. Right? I think he's in good form, right? And let's say it doesn't work out, right? You may have to transfer him out, but I think the ceiling for him is pretty good, right? It's pretty good. All right. So I've gone on a little bit of a tirade, but I hope you guys enjoyed this portion on Man City assets. So we'll go back to the stream layout. So right, I've just seen the captaincy poll, the triple captaincy poll. 46% of you guys say no, 35% of you guys say yes, 19% of you guys say unsure. Right, so I'm with the 19% of you guys, by the way. I'm not sure, but we're gonna go into a little bit of a breakdown as to whether I think we should triple captain Haaland or not. Right, I hope that will help you guys. As of now, I've kind of laid out the pros and cons, but I'm still uncertain. Right, so I'll get to some of the questions. I've missed quite a lot, so bear with me a little bit. I was gonna do Darwin to Kane, Cancelo to Botman, and Kepa to Ederson for a -4. Darwin to Kane is pretty good. Cancelo to Botman, I would assume, is to give funds and at the same time free up that third City slot as well. And then Kepa to Ederson for a -4. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. Something just to bear in mind about Botman is that Newcastle could have a blank in Game Week 25. Now, if that's the case, there's pretty much... it could be a transfer waiting to happen if you are starting Botman week in, week out. If not, then leave him on the bench. If you have other players, then okay. Right, Cancelo, Jared says Cancelo for Ake or Akanji, then I have funds to get Kane in. I think this is pretty much a lot of the transfer combinations, right? Downgrading Cancelo and then upgrading Darwin Núñez to Kane. I think this is totally fine. Right? And if I were to choose a City defender, I would go for Ake. Right, once again, guesswork, but I think Ake looks pretty good. Initially, I was quite keen on Stones, but I think now Ake because Stones is out. Yeah, so that kind of answers a couple of questions, right? I'm glad that answers a couple of questions. Evan says, since Stones is out, which City defender to go for? There's Ake. I think if you already have Trippier, Arsenal and United defender, it makes a lot of sense for you to do Cancelo to... Yep. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with Alex. Thoughts on bringing in Gross, Pascal? I think this week, if you're making transfers, I would look to bring in double game week players or else players that you want to keep in the long run that have good potential. Right? I think Gross, not too keen on him for this game week, I feel. I start Mount. I think if you have Mount and you have to start him because you've already made other transfers, I'm not too opposed to that. Cancelo to Ake. AJ says Cancelo to Ake, Mount to Rodri, Mitro to Kane for -8. Mount to Rodri is definitely not a move I'll make. Kane, cheap midfielders. If you already have Almiron, if you're looking at cheap midfielders, I go straight to Mitoma. Lisa says, hold on, I just lost the chat again. Lisa says, what do you think about doing a -8 Cancelo to Ake or Kanji, Trossard to Rashford, Darwin and Kane? I like this move. Cancelo to Ake, Trossard to Rashford, and Darwin to Kane. I like this move. Do a wildcard team, please. Nuno, I've posted a video. And I think it is still relevant. Right, that team is still the team I think I will go with. Worth doing a -8 of Cucurella and Patterson for Shaw and Botman. I don't think taking out Patterson this week is necessary to go for Botman. I don't think it's necessary. Cucurella to Shaw, I think is fine. Buendia with 1 mil in the bank or Odegaard with 0 in the bank? Definitely Odegaard. I think with the defense, it's obvious Pep tried to experiment with Walker at centre back, didn't work out, subbed off at halftime. Yeah, 100%. Right, game week 23, good for triple captain. Oh, right, okay, we'll talk about triple captain in a bit. Right, once I catch up with the chat. There's a lot of you guys here. Right, thank you guys for coming down. Really appreciate that. If you guys are still here and Haven't liked the stream, please drop a like as well. Thoughts on Cancelo, Salah, Mitrovic to Botman, KDB, and Kane? I think that's okay. But once again, you know my thoughts on Salah to KDB. You know my thoughts. Okay, so right now what we're gonna do is a little bit of what I covered yesterday. So those of you guys who were here already yesterday, bear with me a little bit, but I think this will be relevant for those of the guys who just joined here, right? So what I've basically gonna put up on the screen now is the future blanks and double game weeks, and this is what is going to lead us into whether I think we should triple captain or not. So this is pretty much going to be me speaking for I think about 10 minutes on my thoughts about whether we should triple captain or not, right? Hopefully it helps you guys. All right, so once again, thank you for subscribing. So once again, what we have here is according to Ben Krellin, right? According to Ben Krellin, he's the guy for all the doubles and the blanks, right? Future double game weeks, sorry. Game week 29, game week 34, and game week 37. So these could be big to medium double game weeks, right? So bear that in mind. And also there could be a few other mini doubles there. I think one that comes to mind immediately is that game week 22 potential double for Marcus Rashford for Manchester United, which is Crystal Palace at home and then Leeds at home, right? That isn't confirmed yet, but that is a potential double as well. So that falls under the a few other mini doubles point, right? So that's the landscape, right? And we'll cover the future blank game weeks now. Ignore the typo. So game week 25, there will be 2 blanks, maximum of 2 blanks. Ben Crowley has already confirmed this. So what it means is that 2 blanks is I think we can navigate that with free transfers. I think that's pretty alright, and it's probably going to be Manchester United blanking and Newcastle blanking. So both of them blank because of their involvement in the EFL Cup. Right? So assuming they both get to the finals, which I think they will, we will have to bear that in mind, that Newcastle and Manchester United players have to be transferred out or benched in Game Week 25. Right? So that plays into your transfers for this week as well. Game Week 28, 4 blanks. Right? So essentially, that is a pretty big blank game week there. Game week 32, 3 blanks. Okay, so this is pretty much the landscape for FPL moving forward. Right, so let me just pull up my notes. Okay, so what I've basically come up with, right, is a thought process of what I think I would do with my chips. Right, so I have all my chips intact. Those of you guys who do have all your chips as well, we're in a good position. Right, but that plays into whether we should triple captain now or not. So let's talk about the wildcard first. There's 2 main windows to wildcard, I feel, right? It's basically game week 29 with that big to medium double game week. There's also game week 33, right, where you can wildcard in game week 33 and then bench boost into game week 34, where there is that potential big to medium double game week, right? So that is the thought process, right? So 2 potential wildcard opportunities. I don't think I would go anywhere else. I feel, right? Wildcard 29 and wildcard 33. Those are what's on my mind right now. Then 2 windows to bench boost. So that would be in game week 34 or game week 37, right? So have that in mind, right? And then there is the free hit. Now the free hit, I'm not going to limit myself to playing it in a blank game week or a double game week, right? I'm going to keep it open. I think potentially if I free hit in game week 37, if I've already used the bench boost in game week 34, and I free hit in game week 37, which is a double game week, right? Which is what people don't usually do. I still can take advantage of that double, right? So once again, this is all early thoughts, but it plays into whether we want to triple captain now or not. So free hit, once again, open to double or blanks, and then the triple captain chip. So now comes the question, right? For the triple captain chip, if I'm already pretty much guaranteed going to either use the wildcard or the bench boost in 29 and 34, then that only leaves me with an opportunity to use it in game week 37, which is not what I want to do, because in game week 37, the title could be wrapped up already. So we could possibly just have a situation where we don't want to use the triple captain then, right? We're not certain of who's gonna who's going to play, right? Maybe Champions League finals comes into play and all these things, right? So I wouldn't want to use a triple captain then. So then that brings me to my next point, right? Which is that there is potentially only 3 windows that I feel, right? This is not applicable to this particular slide, but I feel there's only 3 main windows, right? So at this point, game week 20, game week 22, and game week 23 are the spots that I think I will use the triple captainship, right? So let me explain as well. So this slide currently here, it's not relevant to what I'm saying, but basically it's just taking a look at the game week 29, game week 34, and the game week 37 possible doubles for Man City, right? So Liverpool at home, West Ham away, I don't think that's very good, right? Game week 37, once again, Chelsea at home, followed by West Ham at home potentially, or Brighton at home, subject to all those asterisks at the bottom, right? So I won't want to go into detail, but basically what you guys know is that I'm not too keen on triple captaining Haaland in any of these game weeks. Of course, the Fulham one, right? The Fulham away and possibly potentially like West Ham at home or Brighton away, that's a pretty good one. But as I mentioned, I think bench boost would be good in game week 34. So given that that's the case, right, it really only just leaves me with a few windows to play the triple captain. So let me pull up one of my posts on Instagram. So this is basically it, right? This is basically it. So as I mentioned, most of my provisional chip strategies revolve around using the wildcard, the bench boost, or the free hit in future doubles, right? So as we just covered, right? Double game week 29, double game week 34, right? Double game week 37, right? So to keep this flexibility, what I want is to use the triple captain as soon as possible, right? So that either means game week 20, right? Game week 22, or game week 23. So Haaland versus Manchester United and Tottenham is what we have now. Then there's Rashford against Crystal Palace and Leeds, right? That isn't confirmed, right? But that is also a potential one that we want to go for. And then game week 23, Haaland versus Aston Villa at home, Arsenal away. So once we look at this, I think if I rule out Marcus Rashford, right? Because, okay, there is a potential that could happen, that the game week 22 double could happen, right? But if it doesn't happen, then I'm stuck with captaining Haaland in game week 23 against Aston Villa and then Arsenal. So I think that's why the decision is tough, right? Because firstly, the game week 22 double is not confirmed. Secondly, Rashford I know is in the form of his life, right? But I do fancy Manchester United. But obviously, if you ask me, I think Haaland is someone that I'm more confident of triple captaining, right, at this point. Right, I know Rashford has been recently getting on some hot streaks. Manchester City have been dropping off a little bit, but I feel most at ease triple captaining Haaland. So that leaves me with 20 and 23, and then obviously if I compare these two, I think 20 is the best. So that's basically my whole thought process. I think that's pretty long, but I hope it was comprehensive enough to kind of explain why it's a little bit of a predicament for me and I haven't decided yet, right? But I hope it helps you guys. All right. Let me get to the chat now. I've missed quite a couple, but I hope the explanation was clear enough. Tony can play. Yeah, Tony is fit. Right, Tony is fit. Do I take a -4 Darwin to Martial if he plays? I wouldn't do that. I think both of them are a little bit risky at this point, so I wouldn't do that. Ward or Kepa, I'm starting Kepa. I think even though they don't look that good, right? Kepa and Chelsea don't look that good at this point. I think I would be less confident of Ward against Nottingham Forest at home. Nottingham Forest at home beat Chelsea 1-0. Right, 1-0? Beat Chelsea... Did they beat Chelsea or did they draw? Let me check. I just know that Nottingham Forest at home against Chelsea... I'm a Chelsea fan. I know that Chelsea didn't do that well that game. Right, so, I mean, those of you guys who remember, please let me know. Nottingham Forest 1-1. 1-1. Right, so I don't think Nottingham Forest at home is as easy a game. Oh my gosh. as easy a game for Leicester, right, as it seems like, right, on paper. Okay, so FPL Jelly says Game Week 29 looks decent with 2 home fixtures. That's the thing, you see, if I wanna wildcard in Game Week 29, FPL Jelly, then essentially I block that. By using the triple captain. I block the wildcard, right? So I basically take it out of the equation. So I think that's the reason why a lot of people are also thinking, why don't we just use it now, get it out of the way, and then just have the freedom to play whatever chip strategy that we want moving forward without having to think about needing to triple captain, right? So last season it was pretty simple, right? Salah, I think it was 87 points. I don't know, it was a ridiculous score, but last season was so simple. This week is not, this season is not so simple, which is why I'm kind of struggling a little bit. With recent Haaland performances, I'm very afraid for those triple captaining him too. Versus Manchester United in form and normally difficult Spurs fixture. So this is exactly what people who aren't triple captaining Haaland are saying, which I completely understand. I appreciate that as well, right? Manchester United are looking really good, right? And there's that narrative going on about how Manchester City have always conceded against Spurs, or they haven't done well, it's like an Achilles heel or something. I appreciate all that, but is there a better time to use it then? Will there be a better time, right? Is Cancelo a must sell? I don't think it's a must sell, but I've sold him, right? Okay, I think to answer that question, it's more about what moves it enables you to do. If you downgrade Cancelo to someone, say Stones, it's not Stones, Stones is unfit, say Ake, say Akanji, say Luke Shaw, if doing those moves enables you to do maybe Darwin to Kane, or maybe enables you to get to Kevin De Bruyne, sure, 100%, then I think those are good moves. But if not, if you can get to other players that you want for this double game week without selling Cancelo, I think it's fine. Right, is it worth selling Foden, Mitrovic, Nunes for Kevin De Bruyne, Kane, and Bremo for -8? Foden, if I had Foden this week, I would be very tempted to sell him. Mitrovic, I would keep actually. Nunes, I would sell. So in your case, I would actually keep Mitrovic. I possibly do Foden to Mahrez, and then find funds for Nunes up to Kane. That's what I would do. All the positives about having Mahrez opposed to KDB is that he can be a placeholder for an Arsenal mid when they double, keeping Salah at the same time. 100%. Which is, I think, something that people overlook as well, right? Where if you bring Mahrez in this week, that's it. You're stuck with him. I don't think that's the case. I think you could just transfer him out for an Arsenal mid, as you mentioned, for that double game week 23, right? If he doesn't pick up, then that's an easy swap, right? So I don't think we should be so fixated as to say if we go for Mahrez now, we're gonna have him all the way for. It's fine to take a punt, like a 1 week punt, right? If it doesn't work out, that placeholder goes to maybe Odegaard, maybe to Saka, right? Easy. So that's why I'm not opposed to the move as well, and I considered it myself, right? But once again, everything about Mahrez still stays the same, right? That he's not guaranteed for minutes, right? That he's one bad game away from a bench, and things like that. All these things stay the same, right? But the logic behind bringing in Mahrez and then having to keep him all the way, I think we do have to correct it a little bit. Ashton's in the chat, right? Nice to see you come down to the stream. If you don't have time to use the triple captain, but it's useless to use a triple captain when the points for the captain is low, I think that also plays into my mind a little bit. Whether because essentially we can just narrow this triple captain decision down to whether we think is this a game week where my captain is going to score the most points, right? That is the simplest way to think about it, instead of thinking about it the way that I did, where I broke it down chip strategy wise. But thinking about it very simply, right? As Shazwan said, right? Thinking about it simply, you just captain the player that you think is going to score the most points for that particular game week. And in that sense, if I'm going to go with that thinking, then I may not triple captain Haaland this week, right? So it is pretty much in the air. It could even go down to me not even making a decision until close to the deadline. I won't stream all the way until the deadline, but I will be in the Discord with the members once I end the stream all the way till the deadline. So if you guys are interested and you'd like to support the channel as well, the link is in the description to join the Discord. You can become a Patreon or a member. It's just $2 to $3 a month, right? Really cheap, but it's just for me to kind of fund some of the bots that are in the Discord to help it run, right? So if you guys are interested, do hop on over there. Darwin out for -4. I have Kane and Haaland, Pereira, White on the bench. If you already have Kane and Haaland, where would you go with Darwin? Where would you go with Darwin? Maybe in Ketia? Martial, I think, is a little bit too risky. If you already have Kane and Haaland, maybe you take the funds out. Maybe you take the funds out and put it elsewhere. Possible. Is it advisable to go for 2 additional transfers for Kepa to Edison, Nunes to Tony for a -8? For Kepa to Edison, Nunes to Tony for a -. I'm a little bit cautious of Tony, to be honest. I think his fixtures are so good. I know he's gonna score, but that whole betting situation just is a dent into this whole idea of going for Tony for me personally. That's just for me, but I think if you guys go for him, I totally understand as well. Thoughts on Doherty? I think a lot of people are going for Spurs assets, not per se for this game week. I know this game week Spurs fixtures are pretty bad, but long run they look quite good. And on top of that, Doherty is pretty much one of the better cheap 4 point something midfielders. So midfielders, defenders. So I wouldn't advise against it, but I would try to go somewhere else, right? I would try to go somewhere else. Why is Kane considered so essential? He's not essential. He's not essential. I just brought him in because long term I will want him, and I think his it will pay off. I think it will pay off in the long term. Ericsson, play Cancelo, Botman. Thinking of rolling my free transfer as you already have Kane, Haaland, and KDB. Perfect. If you already have him, I would actually play Cancelo. Take a chance that he starts. Right. Ashmit says, I look quite sure of an Arsenal win in the North London derby. Well, I hope so, man. I hope so. I've brought in Odegaard, but I've brought in these players not because I think Arsenal are going to smash Spurs. I think that is possible. That is possible with Spurs defense looking pretty weak. But I'm not banking on that. I'm banking on the long term where Odegaard has that game week 23 double. And after that, the fixtures just look really good, right? I've taken a look at his fixtures. They're just so good. Right, after this double, they have Everton away. And then they have that game week 23 double, Brentford at home, and Man City at home. And then thereon is just green. It's just green. So this is a long-term move, I would say. This is a long-term move, but not because I think Arsenal are going to smash Spurs. Darwin out for -4. I think those of you are asking about Darwin out for -4. I'm okay with that. Ashton says triple captain Haaland, home game against Spurs. That Spurs defense is going to be leaking a couple of goals. I totally agree with all these. These are good reasons to triple. Thoughts on Doherty? As I mentioned just now, right? Son. Oh, I missed a couple of other questions. I'm in the triple captain Haaland. FPL Josh says I'm in the triple captain Haaland. For me, if he left, If he gets 13 in game week, that's 39. If he gets 21, he gets 21. Reverse that, it's 89. I think that's one way of thinking about it. And I appreciate that. Yeah, I get all of what you guys are saying in the chat. I completely understand. Right? Thank you guys for giving your thoughts as well. It's probably gonna help me decide whether I should triple captain. I think those of you guys who are in the chat as well, it's pretty good information there. You get both sides. You get those who are looking to triple captain him and why they are doing so, and you get the other side as well. Right? So it's pretty good information here in the chat. Salah to Son for a hit. Definitely not. I hate having triple captain Haaland and no KDB. It doesn't feel right. 100%. Alex, I agree with you. Right. One of the reasons why if I triple captain Haaland, I'd be hoping for him to score, but then again, he scores when KDB assists. So what am I hoping for? Excuse me. I go in Ketia, but in a couple of weeks. I agree with you. I think that Mitrovic spot allowed me to do a couple of things. Right, he's on the bench for me right now, but I intend to go Mitrovic to Martial. I can even go Mitrovic to Nketiah, right? But obviously now I have 3 Arsenal players, right? So I wouldn't do that. But potentially that Mitrovic spot could become Martial if I decide to sell Ben White, let's say, right? Then Mitrovic could become Nketiah, right? But we'll see. But the Mitrovic spot is a spot that I quite like, because I can even get to Ivan Toney if I want to. If he comes back, plays every game, and he's on fire, I could even get there. Need to remove Darwin, Trossard, and Chalobah. I have 2 free transfers. Bring in Anthony, Tony, and Burn. Chalobah, I think you definitely take him out. Trossard as well, you take him out. The Game Week 21 double doesn't look likely anymore. Let me just take a look at Ben's latest tweets. I didn't realize I was muted. Right, let's take a look at Ben's latest tweets. I think he's saying that the Game Week 21 double is looking very unlikely. Let me pull it up. So this is what Ben is saying now. A double in Game Week 21 is looking very unlikely now. But he's not completely ruling it out, right? I'm not completely ruling it out though, right? Chelsea versus Liverpool could move to the Thursday night before the FA Cup 4th round, right? But Liverpool versus Chelsea is on Saturday, and that would be Chelsea and Liverpool essentially playing each other back to back. So I don't think they like that. I agree. I don't think the Premier League actually likes that. I'd be very surprised if Chelsea versus Liverpool or different fixture moves to Game Week 21. If it happens, it's going to happen today. So we would know soon if it does happen. Right, FPL Raptor says, does this mean you think Manchester United versus Leeds being moved to Game Week 22 is also unlikely on the same grounds? Right, so this I think is what we need to pay attention to. I just saw this tweet just now. Right, there's more need for a Manchester United fixture to be rescheduled than a Liverpool fixture, basically. That's what he's saying. So he'd be less surprised if Manchester United versus Leeds moves to Game Week 22 than if Chelsea versus Liverpool moves to Game Week 21. Right, so there we have it, right? Basically, I think Game Week 21 is looking unlikely. Game Week 22 is still on the cards. Right, so, I mean, this definitely plays into what we were discussing just now as well. Right, it definitely plays into what we were discussing. Interesting, you've benched Mitrovic over Almiron, FPL. Marcus, FPL Bateman. I think, okay, this is a question that I asked on my team selection video. Let me know what you guys think. Who should I be benching if I don't bench Mitrovic? I have Rashford, Salah, Martinelli, Odegaard, and Almiron. And they have so good fixtures, right? And bear in mind, I think Tottenham away is a good fixture for, in my opinion, a good fixture for Arsenal because of how poor that Tottenham defense is. So assuming I want to play both Martinelli and Odegaard, who do I bench? Almiron is Fulham. Who do I bench? Right? Of course, I'm going to leave Haaland and Kane up there. Right? So I need to know, if I don't bench Mitrovic, who do I bench? Would you rather bring in Gabriel? Oh, just lost the chat again. Would you rather bring in Gabriel or Mitoma for medium to long term? Gabriel. FPL Josh says Haaland will get 2 goals against Spurs and 3 versus United. Man U fan, but our defense is still shaky. By the way, guys, just all right. I think that's possible. That is possible. Cancelo plus Darwin to Kane plus Shaw for -4. I missed the free walkout over Christmas, so my team is a mess. Top quality stream. Thank you for coming down, Ben, and thank you for the kind words. So Cancelo plus Darwin to Kane plus Shaw for a -4. I would do it. I mean, I did it. I did Cancelo and Darwin to Shaw and Kane, and then I also did Mount to Odegaard, just to provide funds for that. So that's a -8 for me. Cancelo replacement from City defense. I think Ake is the one I would go for. Patterson to Doherty for a hit. I wouldn't do that. Cancelo to Stones or Botman. Stones is injured. Botman, I think he's fine, right? But Newcastle could blank in game week 25. So if you had Cancelo, I'd maybe go for Luke Shaw if you don't have already. If not, maybe Cancelo to Ake, maybe. Yep, Stones is injured. Nunes is potentially out, right? He's potentially out. All right. I think there's a couple of things that I still want to cover before I end the stream. So I've talked about the City assets. I think the last one is pretty much Harry Kane. Right? I just want to talk a little bit about Harry Kane, even though I brought him in for a -8. But I do want to talk a little bit about him for those of you guys who are thinking about whether you want to bring Harry Kane in or not. Right? So for those of you who are thinking about bringing, what I'm going to do now is basically kind of talk myself right into why I should not have brought Kane in. But at the same time, there are pros to doing it as well. So what we have on the screen is the data for teams. Right, so I want to assess this question about whether Kane is worth a hit from 2 perspectives. So from a team perspective, how they're performing and whether that would lead to them scoring more goals or not. And also from an individual level, where we look at Kane's individual performance against other players in his position, and we kind of look whether is he overperforming, is he underperforming, and is he getting those chances, and can he keep it up, basically. So on the screen, what we have is the team statistics. So we have shots on target. This is basically game week 17 to game week 19. And the reason why I've taken such a short span of data is because pre-World Cup, I think the teams were all in a different state. So now that they are post-World Cup, game week 17 to game week 19, I think this is what we need to focus on, how teams are recovering from maybe fatigue of the World Cup, right? Or just not playing Premier League for a while. So we've got shots on target, big chances created or big chances, right? Expected goals, and then the actual goals that they've scored. So for the shots on target, right, I think that's pretty much the data is quite straightforward, right? How many shots they have on target, big chances as well. Expected goals is what I want to focus on, right? And that's because I want to see if the teams are overperforming or underperforming. So for Man City, the expected goals is 7.28, and the number of goals they've gotten is 5. So in this sense, you can see that they may be underperforming. They should have more goals than they are scoring. Same goes for Liverpool as well, right? 7.66 and 6 goals scored. For Newcastle, it's the opposite, right? They are, for Newcastle, it's the same, right? Where they are underperforming, right? 5.92 and then 3 goals, right? So the delta is what we can see there. Is basically your XG minus the number of goals you've scored, right? So for Man United, 7.07 and 7 goals. So it's pretty much they're getting the same, they're getting the number of goals that they should be getting. Right, now we move to Spurs because this is what I want to focus on. Actually, if we look at the data the XG for Spurs is only 3.81 over the past 3 game weeks, and they've scored 6 goals. So this is a massive overperformance. So can they keep this up? Usually the data catches up to it, right? So usually it tends to normalize and the XG becomes the same as goals. So in that sense, I think looking at it from this perspective, I don't think Tottenham will be able to keep this up, at least scoring goals at the rate that they've been scoring. And you have to bear in mind that this data also takes into account that Crystal Palace 4-0 game, right? So that is also one of the reasons why it's so skewed into 3.81 versus 6. Right, so that is one of the reasons why I didn't want to bring Kane in at first, but there are other reasons as well, right? So we're take a look now at the individual data. So this is basically a list of all the players with the biggest chances scored, biggest number of chances in the past 3 game weeks, right? So Darwin, of course, we already know he's a meme. Currently he's injured, right? So hopefully he returns soon. But he's 7 big chances, 3.32 goals and 0 goals. So that is as underperforming as you can get, right? And then we have Haaland. He's pretty much performing the same that he should be getting, right? 3 expected goals and then 3 goals. So Mitrovic as well, pretty alright. Mitoma, Salah, and then we have Kane, which is also a massive overperformance, right? 1.21 and 3 goals. So basically the numbers, from a numbers standpoint, what it's basically telling us is that he may not be able to keep this up. So that is one of the things that maybe you want to consider, right? If you are thinking about taking a hit for Kane. But lastly, which I think can kind of substantiate why I still went for Kane, right? So consistency is one of them, right? I think the stats speak for itself, so I'm not going to go there. Kulusevski is coming back, right? He's fit now, right? Bissouma is also back in training, so they're both fit. Not that I think Bissouma does really well, but I think Kulusevski would be a big plus for him. And something that I want to focus on as well as is how the games may play out, right? So Arsenal are going to get a lot of the ball, Man City are going to have a lot of the ball, and that kind of suits Spurs' counter-attacking play as well, right? We've seen that before, and that's kind of how they hit Man City on the counter as well, right? So I think that's one of the reasons as well. And then eventually I would want him long term. So if I bring him in now, there's more time for him to repay the hit that I'm taking for him, right? So, and then we have all the no's, right? The stats that we saw just now. Bentancur and Richarlison still not spotted in that 4 yellow card situation. So I think this is pretty much an overview for those of you guys who are thinking about going for Kane. Should you go for Kane? Is he worth a hit? I think for me, personally, I've already brought him in, right? So I can't really make a decision after I've already transferred. But what I kind of want to, I guess, get you guys to appreciate as well is that bringing him in now, right? In the long run, if you already would want him, right? Kind of the same thinking that I had as well, right? He will have more time to pay that hit off. Right? I'm not going to put it past Kane to get a goal or 2 as well, right? So I'm going to leave it as that. And hopefully it was helpful for those of you guys who are thinking about going for Kane. So let me catch up to the chat right now. I'm really far behind. But thank you guys for tuning in, by the way. I really appreciate the turnout. 96 of you guys, right? I really appreciate that. If you guys could drop a like on the stream and also subscribe as well if you haven't already, that really helps the channel. And yeah, it just gives me some encouragement to continue putting out content. Mount to Odegaard or roll. If it's for free, I would. If it's not for free, then I would. Oh, you have a free transfer, that's why I roll. Yeah, I think I would do it. Cancelo and Darwin for Ake and Kane for -8. Yeah, I would do that. Mount replacement, Odegaard or Mitoma. I think actually the best Mount replacement, to be honest, is actually Riyad Mahrez. Jonathan is in the chat, right? Nice, thanks for coming down. At the rate Chelsea's form is going, how long are you going to hold Kepa? So I'm not going to rule out Kepa to Ederson. I've left that move open by taking out Cancelo, because eventually if I already want to do Salah to De Bruyne, that's 2 Man City assets that I'll have in the future. And then in possibly Game Week 23, if I do want to do that, Kepa to Ederson is in my considerations, right? I may not keep him for that much longer. Some people already have moved on from Kepa to Edison already. I totally understand that as well. Right. FPL Bateman says Almiron's XGI90 since the World Cup is 0.24. It's 29. It was 0.49 before the World Cup. Strong stats in favor of benching Almiron for Mitrovic, who has pens and head arrest. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. That's actually very valid. That's a good reason as well. He did pick up an assist though against I think Leicester. I think he did pick up an assist. But I mean the data is what I usually try to listen to, right? And yeah, thank you for bringing that up. Alright, so this is pretty much it, right? This is pretty much it. I think at this point I've pretty much covered what I want to cover, but if you guys have any more questions, do drop it in the chat. I may stream for just a little bit longer, maybe 10 to 15 minutes more, before I hop on over to the Discord for all the members and the patrons. So I'll be there all the way till the deadline. So those of the members and the patrons who are watching, I'll be joining you on Discord very soon after the stream. James says, tweeted you my team, who will you change? I'll get back to you in a bit. I can't manage too many things at this point. I'm about 90% sure I'm going to triple captain Haaland, but I don't want to click the button, should I? Let's take a look at the poll. 288 votes, 40% say yes, 47% say no, 14% say unsure. It isn't really very helpful, is it? Okay, I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna leave the let me find the slide. Right, I'm gonna leave it on this for a while we simmer about whether we want to triple captain Haaland or not. I'm gonna leave it on this while I answer some of your questions. -8 for Kane and KDB, good or bad? I think that's okay. I've already taken -8, right? So I think if you're taking hits this season, if you're taking -8s or -12s this season, this would be the time. I think this would be the time. Olise or Zaha, can I say neither? I don't really like Crystal Palace assets for this game week. -8 in 2 hits. Cancelo to Doherty and Andreas to Mahrez. Is it worthy? If you already have KDB and you're going for Mahrez, I think that's okay. But I would try to prioritize, if I'm taking a -8, I would try to take moves that really bring in those solid players. So maybe Andreas to Mahrez may not be something that I do. FPL Insight says, pull the trigger on Haaland triple captain. Yeah, I mean, there's every reason for that. I totally understand. I can't decide whether I should. I initially wanted to decide whether I would triple captain Haaland on this stream. But I don't think I can. I may do it on the Discord later. Ben White, Shaw and Nunes, or Ben White, Trent and Mitrovic. I mean, Nunes is injured, right? So probably the latter then. I would bench Martinelli to play Mahrez. I don't think I would do that. Okay, so that's pretty much I guess all the content that I have today. Hopefully you guys found it useful. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream as well. And I will be hopping over soon onto the Discord for the members. Okay. Yeah, so for those of you guys who haven't had your questions answered, just pop it in and then I will quickly get to them. I'll catch up on some of the questions that I missed as well further up. Spurs were struggling because Kulusevski and Bentancur and Richarlison were injured. Conte said in his press conference that Kulu will be available. I think the attacking threat will be back. Yeah, those are one of the reasons why. Those are one of the reasons why we should go for Kane, right? But the data previously hasn't backed it. I think those are relevant points as well, right? Maybe that's why the data wasn't that good for Spurs previously. Right? I totally understand that Bentancur has been a massive miss for Spurs. Massive miss. Right? And also, Kulusevski, Richarlison, all these players being injured, of course, affects it as well. Gundo or Mahrez? Well, I wouldn't go for Gundogan, so I would go for Mahrez. Have Trent and Cancelo. Who do I take out? You take out Cancelo, I think. But if it's for this week, that's a tough one. Cancelo has the double and Trent has Brighton away. Maybe you take Trent out because you can fund other moves. Maybe that I would do that. But if it's just taking Trent out and bringing in someone that just using your transfer and not advancing your team, then I wouldn't. FPL Jelly says, cheers Leon, love your work as always. Thank you so much for the support. Justice says take Cancelo out. Yeah, I would take Cancelo out. I've already taken Cancelo out. Okay, I think we streamed for quite a bit. I'll just quickly catch up on any last questions that you guys have. I'm just checking Twitter if there's any double Game Week 21 announcements. In case we get those double Game Week announcements, it's actually going to change a lot of the strategies that we have. I think it's looking really unlikely, to be honest. It's looking really unlikely. I think Ben hasn't said anything since, so I think we just take it as if I honestly think we'll keep a lookout for that. But I honestly think Game Week 21, I'll be very surprised if it happens. Game Week 22, I think the double is more likely there. And then that playing game week in 25, we do have to take proceed with caution there. All right, I'll get to the questions, all the last questions, and then I'll end the stream and join the members on the Discord. Okay, so are 4 double game week players enough for this week? I think they're okay. I have 4 double game week players. I'm not too worried. I think the only player that I'm super worried about, as you guys can tell, is Kevin De Bruyne. Right, so I don't know, what can I do? I've already made my transfers, and I think this in the long term just works. I can do Salah to De Bruyne and then correct the mistake if I make it, if it turns out that he hauls. But I think Salah could very well just match De Bruyne for points here this week. I'm not gonna say that's not gonna happen. I think it's possible. VJ says, thanks Leon, great stream. Thank you for coming down to the stream. Really appreciate it. Cancelo, Mount, Darwin out for Doherty and Ketty and KDB in. Is it worth a -8? If you're taking Darwin out, you've upgraded Mount to Kevin De Bruyne. I think this is okay. But Darwin to Nketiah, I think that's okay. I would do that. Dream Stealer says, good evening. Good evening to you. James, Cancelo, Darwin to Shaw, Doherty and Kane for -4. I think that's okay. That's one of the moves that I think are alright. Ashmit says, great stream. Thank you guys for all the kind words. Really appreciate that. It really gives me a lot of encouragement to put out more content for you guys. Yesterday the turnout wasn't like today, right? I think yesterday we had about 20 something people on stream, right? So all the content that I had today I actually put it out on yesterday's stream, but I guess for those of you guys who just tuned in or are tuning in now, right, I just wanted to make sure that you guys had a look at it as well to make an informed decision. I think that is basically what we all try to do, right? To absorb all the information and then make an informed decision, right? Are you safe with triple Arsenal assets? I think in the short term, it may not look that good because they have Tottenham away now. But as I mentioned just now, their fixtures are so good. And Odegaard is someone that I already wanted to go for in a long time already. Like, I've been wanting to go for Odegaard for a while. So, Tottenham away this week, I understand it's not fantastic. Manchester United at home next week is not great as well. Come game week 22, Everton away, and then game week 23 at double. That's where this whole run is what I'm going for. And bringing in Odegaard this week is not targeting this week per se. Right? Bringing in Odegaard this week is basically for me to make sure that in the long run I'm going to be covered. I have players that I want to keep for the long term, and then I have some doubles as well, right? In Kane and Shaw. This pretty much explains my moves. Let me get to the chat. I've lost it again. Thank you guys for being so active in the chat, by the way. I really love interacting with you guys. Goodman says, by far the best FPL YouTuber. I don't think so. I mean, there's one FPL YouTuber that I really, really admire, and one that I think is super, super good is FPL Raptor. I think he's having an incredible season now. Right, and on top of that, I think the way he analyzes the game, his thought process and everything, I think I'm a massive fan of FPL Raptor. I've interacted with him a bit on Twitter as well. And he's a really nice guy. I've chatted with him on Twitter through the DMs, and we may do a collab soon. Right, we may do a collab soon. I am in some talks with him, and it could potentially happen. Yeah, and if it does, I'd be very honored. I think he's a really good FPL YouTuber, and I think he comes from the perspective of psychology, which is something that I think a lot of us tend to, or don't really consider. I think a lot of us just try and make decisions based on gut or based on what we're feeling at that point in time. But he goes a little bit further. He does stats, and he also just goes into the mind and just tries to understand, right, whether I remember this video where he even went into the timings when we made the transfers and how that kind of affects our moves. I think that one was really incredible. Yeah, so I think I really admire FPL Raptor. I think FPL Mate is really good as well. FPL Focal, FPL Harry, Let's Talk FPL, of course. How can you forget, right? All of them are really, really great as well. Yeah, I don't think I'm just a small channel, so I'm just enjoying the process and basically just enjoying interacting with you guys and playing FPL with you. Yeah, and I think we'll just see where this goes, right? We'll just see where this channel goes, and yeah, for now I'm just enjoying the process. Would you take out Kulusevski if you owned him? I wouldn't. He's fine. He's fit, right? Tony is fit apparently. Yeah, he is fit. Should I take a -4 with Ben White, or should I get Shaw in and take a -8? I think if you stick with Ben White, I think it's fine. Yeah, I think it's alright. McAllister in, I think you could hold off on that. KDB a better option than Salah. I think this week I've chosen to keep Salah. I think there's a good chance that he matches KDB. Right, we'll see. Which Man City defender is nailed on? Harry, you're asking the real questions here. But the truth is, nobody knows. If anyone tells you that they know, they don't. Between De Gea and Ederson, who would you suggest for game week 20? Ederson, 100%. Ederson. VJ says Ross is good, but Leon is better. I seriously doubt it. Mega says you and Raptor are both cuties. Thank you. Play Odegaard or Tony? I'd be tempted to start Tony if I had him. Play both. I'll play both. Jacku says, hello mate. Are you gonna triple captain Haaland this game week? Cheers. I honestly hope I knew the answer myself, but I'll hop on over to the Discord, right? I'll have a chat with the members And then we'll see. I mean, we'll discuss, right, what we should do. I think I haven't decided it yet, right? But I'm leaning towards saving it, to be honest. I'm leaning towards that right now. But I don't wanna be, I don't wanna go on record and say that I'm not gonna activate it. Is it worth keeping Martial in spite of the injury rumors? I would be afraid to keep him, to be honest. Okay, if I have him, I keep him. If I have him, I keep him. Yeah. If I don't have him, I don't think I would buy him. Yeah, that's a different question. Will Akanji start? I think he'll line up, right? There's a couple of centre backs that we're looking at. So there's John Stones is ruled out. So there's Laporte, there's Akanji, and there's Ake. So there's three of them, and I think Ake, most of the time he is used on the left wing, right? For the time being, if Rico Lewis plays, he's going to be on the left back position. So I would think Akanji and Laporte would be the centre backs, and I would also think either Rico Lewis and Ake, or Cancelo and Walker. I think that would be the combination. So just to give a quick answer, I think Akanji would probably start. But once again, what do we know? I have Haaland and Kane, but should I change Mitrovic to Tony? I wouldn't. If it's for free though, maybe. If it's for free, maybe. Is Kane absolutely necessary for this week? Getting him would destroy my team structure. I don't think he's absolutely necessary, right? So if you're okay with the players in your, I think one of the ways that I like to answer the question when someone asks, is someone necessary or is someone essential, is basically, think about it this way, right? If someone has gone for, let's say, Kevin De Bruyne, Haaland, and Salah, they've compromised somewhere. Right, they compromise somewhere, and can your differential players cover where they've compromised? So at the end of the day, it's the total score that we're talking about. We're not talking about one player, and our scores are not based on one player. So if you are able to make it such that when you've already gone for a certain player, so say I've already gone for Kane, I don't have Kevin De Bruyne, can my other differentials cover these players? Do I think they can cover? And because I think Salah can cover Kevin De Bruyne in this week, now this may backfire, but because I do have a feeling that it's possible Salah covers Kevin De Bruyne, so I've gone without him. So in that sense, when you're trying to answer the question about whether is someone essential, I guess you can think about whether the differentials that you have as opposed to the opponent that your mini league rival, let's say, right? Can you cover those points? If you can, then you've got your answer. Start one of Cucurella, Saliba, and Bueno. Definitely not Bueno, definitely not Cucurella, maybe Saliba. Seems like Saliba would be the one. I started Ben White, so I think Arsenal, I'm not too hopeful of the Arsenal clean sheet, but we'll see. Do I sell Martial? I think if you have him, you keep him. I wouldn't go so far as to sell him, but I wouldn't buy him if I don't have him. Right, Mahrez plus Doherty or Kulusevski plus Botman. This is a tough one. Maybe Mahrez and Doherty. George says even Pep doesn't know which of his defenders are nailed on. 100%. 100%. This is exactly true. Would you do Almiron to Odegaard? This week, I don't think I would. Kane plus Anthony plus Almiron / Rodrigo. Or Kane plus Almiron and Buemo. Maybe the latter. Play Ake or White? Play Ake. Fernandes to De Bruyne and Nunes. If I have Fernandes, I keep him. Should I do Cucurella to Shaw and Cancelo to Akanji? Yeah, this is an interesting question. A couple of people have Cucurella and they've been asking me whether they should sell Cucurella. I think my perspective on it is I would sell Cucurella. Yeah, I would sell Cucurella. Saka seems to be injured. Saka at this point, the exact quote, right, let me pull it up. The exact quote from Arteta is that he thinks Saka will be okay. I don't know if that's mind games or what, but he thinks he's going to be okay. So we make of that what we will. Thoughts about Zaha? I wouldn't bring him in, but I would keep him if I had him. Alright, this applies to so many of the players this game week, I feel. If I wouldn't go for them, if I already have him, I keep. If I don't have, I wouldn't buy. It's just a situation of don't buy, don't sell, right? So that's pretty much it. Would you take a chance on Martial being fit? I wouldn't. So, but once again, don't buy, don't sell. Triple captain Haaland. That is the question. We've had 430 votes already, and people are split. 38% yes, 47% no. People are split. Kath then says, I have Darwin with no free transfers. What should I do? Depends how much money you have in the bank. Can you go Darwin to Kane if you already have him? Right. If you bench him, can you play your bench players and are they okay to be played as well? I'm on a wild card. Is going Rodrigo worth it? You're on a wild card. If you're on a wild card, I would recommend I guess the team that I've made. The team that I've made is in one of the videos for this week. You can check it out on the channel. Captain Bruno over Haaland? Definitely not. Played Rico or Botman? I take a chance on Rico Lewis. KB says play Botman. But I actually think that there's a chance Rico gets some game time. Right? I think there's a chance that he gets some game time. I think there's even an outside chance that he plays both. I don't know. We don't really know. But because he has that double, I'd be tempted to take a chance on him. I think Anthony will be a good shout this week. Possible, but I wouldn't go for him, but I think he's an okay shout. He probably will be in one of those scout picks teams, right? If you could pick players, then I think maybe. Which City defender should I go since Stones is unavailable now? I'll go for Ake. Right, Havertz, Mitchell, Cancelo to Kane, Tony, and Bueno. Excuse me. Just let me get a cough out. Alright. Havertz definitely I'd sell. Okay, Cancelo to Bueno probably to fund the moves. Havertz up to Kane, yeah. And Mitrovic to Tony. I think that's okay. I think that's an okay transfer. Mitoma, I do want to go for him. He's actually in a wildcard team that I made. Right, Mitoma. We saw the stats just now. Good numbers for Mitoma. Thoughts on Wissa? Great fixtures for Brentford. Now that Tony is back, I'm not so sure about Wissa's minutes. So, Bremo captain, definitely not. Right? I think Pep will play Walker against Son and Rashford. So this is the thing, you see. If he plays Walker, which I agree with, I think there's a good chance he plays Walker against Son and Rashford for pace reasons. Right? If that's the case, I actually think that Cancelo will start left back. That's just my thinking. So, why not Bruno is kept rested in Cup? Better fixtures than Haaland. I don't think it's much better. If I were to compare, I think Manchester United and Manchester City's fixtures are equally okay. I wouldn't say bad, I wouldn't say good. They're just the same. I don't think Bruno has better fixtures than Haaland. Should I do Darwin to Wilson or Tony for a -4? Darwin to Wilson, I don't think I would ship Darwin out for a -4, but if let's say you really have to, because you don't have a group of starting 11 players, then I guess Darwin to Tony, because Wilson and Isak could be rotated. Isak is back. Zanka or Martinelli? Definitely Martinelli. Mega says, respect the grind, bro. You're always streaming for long and the streams are good. I hope your channel will grow a lot more. Well, thank you so much. That means a lot. That means a lot. For those of you guys who are here, and if you enjoy the content, just very, very simple. Just help me drop a like on the stream, and also just subscribe. It really just takes a couple of seconds, but it really gives me a lot of encouragement. Would you go Anthony or Odegaard? United could get another double, and you can just downgrade to Odegaard if needed. I think from the get-go, I don't like banking transfers like that. I think from the get-go, I just go for Odegaard. Gabriel or Saliba? Gabriel is for attacking threat, I feel, right? Gabriel. So I would prefer Gabriel. Brentford defender or Bueno? It depends on your team structure, right? If you need that player to play week in, week out, then you go for the Brentford defender who's slightly more nailed. If not Bueno, that you don't have to play week in, week out. Dude Man says he's a Brentford fan. Against big teams, tend to play 5-3-2, and against mid teams. Alright. Well, there you have your answer. There you have your answer. Alright. I think we've streamed for pretty long. But for those of you who've just popped in, I just want to show you guys the injuries, the latest press conferences. So I'm going to leave it here. For those of you who want to head on over, every week I post this. So basically, I just summarize the press conferences. I collate all the players who are fit, doubtful, and ruled out, and I post them on Instagram. So if you guys want some of those contents, just head on over to Instagram. It's a collab post between FPL_consult. It's me, and also FPL tips__. So do drop both of us a follow if you want. And yeah, so these are basically the players that are either fit, doubtful, or ruled out. And basically, I just want to leave it here for those of you who are just tuning in, so that you would know. Brian says, who would you choose between a City defender, Botman, and Varane/Martinez? I think City defender. Do you think Gakpo will start? I'm almost, I would say 100%, but you can't say 100%. I'm 99%. Is this your final team? Yep, that is my final team. The only decision that I've yet to make is whether to triple captain Haaland or not. So we'll see. Saka is missing in my list, and that's because he's neither doubtful nor past fit. Yeah, he's neither doubtful nor past fit. He's pretty much in the middle. So that's why he's not in the list, right? He's somewhere in the middle. I guess he can sit in between Tony and Darwin Núñez. Because I wouldn't go so far as to say he's 100% fit, right? Because Arteta says he's okay. So I've kind of left it in the caption if you take a look. Arteta thinks Saka will be okay, right? So that's in the caption. Do you think Ederson and Raya are good keepers for now? Ederson, yes. I think Raya does have a good run. But I do doubt the Brentford defense from time to time. Yeah. Do you think Lewis from City will play a game? I think there's a chance that we could see all the defenders actually feature in at least one of each games. Yeah, I think there's a chance we see that. So all right. Apologies, it's a little bit technical difficulties. Yeah, I think there's a chance we see all of them feature a little bit. So that's pretty much my thoughts on them. Rodrigo or Mitoma. I think Lee's fixtures are good enough to go for Rodrigo. So yeah, and now that the double for Mitoma in game week 21 is pretty much not going to happen, then I guess the appeal for Brighton assets just goes away as well. Cancelo or Bueno on the bench? Definitely Bueno on the bench. Definitely Bueno on the bench. Alright, I think this is where we end the stream, unfortunately. I've really enjoyed today's stream. Thank you guys so much for coming down. Right, I really appreciate every one of you guys coming down. It's incredible, right, to have such a big turnout. I think you guys would probably have a couple of other streams, right? Do hop on over to all the other streams as well. They probably will be covering all the other big questions as well. Right, FPL Raptor is streaming as well, so just do head on over to his channel. I probably will head on over there too. What do you think of holding Salah over getting Bruno or KDB? I've done that. So that's pretty much what I think. I think it's okay. Right, so if you guys are still here and you haven't left yet, please drop a like and also subscribe if you haven't already. And for the members and the Patreons in the chat watching the stream, I'll be joining you guys on Discord to chat all the way till the deadline. Right, I'll be chatting all the way till the deadline, which is still not for 2 hours. Right, so I'll be there in the Discord answering all your questions. And yeah, I'll catch you guys there. For those of you who joined the stream, and you've pretty much stayed all the way, I know some of you guys have stayed all the way. VJ, I think AJ has been in the stream for quite a while as well. Kath Dan, Ashmit, right? Those familiar names that I see in the comments as well. I really appreciate you guys coming down. Right, the comments by Mega as well. I really appreciate that. And yeah, I think basically you guys make the streams fun. Right, you guys make the streams fun. So that's it. That's all I have. Thank you guys for coming down. And I will catch you guys, I guess, in the Game Week 21 deadline, Game Week 21 content, right? So thank you guys for coming down. All the best for your transfers, etc. And have a look about whether you want to triple captain him or not based on some of the factors that we saw just now. But if not, thank you guys for coming down, right? And I'll catch you guys in the Game Week 21 content, which will be out with you very soon. Bye-bye.